Welcome to Books in Brief. Today we're doing a deep dive into what is really a blueprint for turning a startup dream into a profitable reality. We're discussing running lean, a systematic process for iterating your web application from plan A to a plan that works by Maurya.
And it's such a vital text because it cuts straight to the core of why so many startups fail. I mean, think about it. It's never been easier to actually build technology.
Right. The cost of entry is practically nothing now.
Exactly. You've got cloud computing, open source tools. You can build something incredibly complex for a fraction of what it cost, say, 20 years ago.
And yet, as the author points out, the odds are still just brutal.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 startups still fail. That number hasn't really changed, has it? Even though building is easier.
It hasn't, and that's because the failure isn't technical. It's about building the wrong thing. It comes down to this one core truth. Your initial vision, your plan A, is mostly built on faith.
Not fact.
Not facts at all. And that plan A is almost certainly wrong. Maurya points out that even for the ones who succeed, 2/3 of them end up with a plan that's drastically different from where they started.
So they didn't succeed because plan A was genius.
No. They succeeded because they found a way to iterate to plan B or C or D, a plan that actually works, before the money ran out.
Which is the entire mission of running lean. It gives you that systematic process, that workflow to get from your initial untested ideas to something viable.
Precisely. And the whole philosophy is built on this one mantra.
Right action, right time.
That's the one. And it's not just a catchy phrase. It's about discipline. What you build, when you test it, and how you measure. It all has to be the right action for that specific time.
And that focus is all about reducing waste.
That's the enemy. In a startup, waste isn't just, server costs.
No, it's bigger than that.
It's building features nobody wants. It's writing that huge 60-page business plan. It's trying to scale too early. All of that just burns through your runway without actually teaching you anything important.
Okay, so let's start where every founder starts. With that big vision, that plan A.
The one that's full of guesswork.
Right. And this is where the founder's own psychology can be a real threat, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Maurya says that smart people can rationalize anything. Founders create their own reality distortion fields.
So the lean approach forces you to get those ideas out of your head.
Out of your head and onto paper. Or, onto a canvas. So you can actually test them with facts, not just faith.
And that's where the lean canvas comes in as an alternative to that massive business plan.
Exactly. The old business plan takes months to write. It's full of numbers you just made up. And it's basically useless the second you talk to a real customer.
So Maurya adapted Alex Osterwalder's business model canvas.
Yep. Into the lean canvas.
And why is it so much better for an early stage company?
Speed, conciseness, and it's portable. You can map out your entire business model, all the core hypotheses, in a single afternoon.
That speed is so important.
It's critical. The moment you stop iterating, you stop learning. And the one-page format forces you to be concise. I mean, if you can't explain your business on one page, you haven't really figured out what it is.
Which is so important when you realize you only have 8 seconds to grab someone's attention on a landing page?
8 seconds. That's it. So your value proposition has to be crystal clear instantly. The lean canvas helps you nail that down.
So let's quickly run through the 9 boxes. It's split pretty neatly, right? Product on one side, market on the other.
That's right. On the left, you've got the product side. Things like the problem, your solution, your key metrics, and cost structure. That's the internal stuff.
And on the right, the external market-facing things. Customer segments, channels, revenue streams.
And 2 really critical ones. The unique value proposition, or UVP, right in the middle, and the unfair advantage.
Let's talk about the UVP. The book defines it as a single, clear, compelling message that states why you are different and worth buying.
It sounds so simple.
But it's so hard to do well.
Because you have to get out of your own head and stop talking about your cool features. You have to talk about the customer's gain.
And the book has a great framework for this, focusing on what it calls finished story benefits.
Yes. This is so important. Most people start with features. We have AI scheduling.
Right.
A bit better is the immediate benefit, like save an hour a week. But the best UVPs paint the picture of the final outcome, the finished story.
So not save money on your taxes.
But achieve financial peace of mind. It's about the ultimate destination the customer is trying to reach. That's what you're selling.
And a good UVP should answer 3 questions, right? What, who, and why.
Instantly. The book uses user cycle as an example. Lifecycle marketing software. Turn your users into passionate customers.
Why? Software. Who?
Yeah.
Users. Why? Turn them into passionate customers. It's all there.
Exactly. No jargon, no vague promises.
Okay, and the other box that's really important is the unfair advantage.
This is the one people struggle with. An unfair advantage is something that can't be easily copied or bought.
So having great coffee is not an unfair advantage for a coffee shop.
Nope. Anyone can buy good beans.
Mhm.
The book says if you have to write a whole section on your barrier to entry, you probably don't have one.
So what counts?
Things like insider information, deep expertise in a niche field, a patent maybe, a massive network effect, even a really passionate community.
But not first mover advantage.
Definitely not. That's temporary. Someone with more money can always catch up. The point of this box is to be brutally honest with yourself about what you have that others can't just buy.
So the canvas documents plan A, and it forces you to identify your riskiest assumptions right away.
Yes. It shifts your focus from just building stuff to figuring out what you need to test first.
So we've got our plan A on the lean canvas. Now we need the roadmap to test it. You can't just test everything at once.
No, that's just another form of waste. You'll end up building features for problems that might not even exist.
Right.
So the roadmap is sequential. You tackle the biggest risks first. And Maurya lays out 3 very distinct stages.
Stage 1 is problem solution fit.
Yeah. And the key question here is really simple, but it's existential. Do I have a problem worth solving?
And you have to figure that out before you build anything.
Before you write a line of production code, this is where you decouple the problem from the solution. You go out and talk to people, customer discovery, to prove the pain is real and it's acute.
And once you've validated that, you can define your minimum viable product, or MVP.
Exactly. And that MVP should only solve the most critical, validated pain points, nothing else.
Then you move to stage 2, product market fit.
Now you have a product in the wild. And the question changes to, have I built something people want?
So this is all about learning from real usage.
All about it. You're looking at usage data, getting qualitative feedback, and iterating very, very quickly. This is where you find out if your solution actually works for them.
And if you nail that, you get to the happy place. Stage 3, scale.
Right. By now, the major uncertainty is gone. You know the model works. The question is just, how do I accelerate growth? It's all about optimization and efficiency at this point.
That sequence really clarifies things. Before product market fit or PMF, you're focused on validated learning and making big pivots.
And after PMF, it's about growth and little optimizations.
That distinction is so important. A pivot is a huge course correction.
Yeah, like changing your entire customer segment. An optimization is just, changing a button color to get a 2% lift in clicks.
Right.
And the book argues that before you hit PMF, you have to be making bold bets. Aim for big outcomes.
But doesn't that risk alienating your first few users if you're changing the pricing model every other week?
That's a great question, and it's a real tension. But the answer is, if you only have 10 users, your biggest risk isn't alienating them. Your biggest risk is spending the next 6 months building something nobody wants.
I see. So survival is more important than optimizing their experience at that stage.
Absolutely. You have to find the model that works. If the current UVP isn't landing, you have to change it. Now. You can't wait.
Okay, so this brings us to the actual feedback loop. Build, measure, learn. But the book stresses that you need rigor.
You do. It's not just about going through the motions. It starts with having a truly specific and testable hypothesis.
Not just something vague like, more blog posts will increase engagement.
Exactly. What does more mean? What is engagement? It's untestable. You can always convince yourself it worked.
So a better hypothesis would be?
Posting 3 case studies a week for a month will drive more than 100 new signups from the manufacturing sector.
Okay. That's specific.
It's totally specific. If you only get 40 signups, the hypothesis is disproven. You've learned something concrete.
And for this loop to work, you need speed, learning, and focus.
Focus is the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Without it, you're just spinning your wheels, learning a lot about things that don't matter. You might get really good at optimizing your landing page, but if nobody wants the product,
It's all wasted effort.
total waste. Focus keeps you locked on the biggest risk for your current stage.
Now, in terms of methodology, the book has a really interesting principle. Validate qualitatively. Verify quantitatively.
Yeah, this is a counterintuitive one for a lot of tech founders who just want to dive into A/B testing.
Right, they want big data.
But early on, you don't have enough data for that to be useful. Qualitative validation. Actually, talking to people one-on-one is so much faster.
And you can get a strong signal with a really small sample size, right?
Shockingly small. Research shows you can find something like 85% of the big problems by just talking to 5 people.
5 people.
5. If 4 out of 5 tell you the problem isn't a big deal, you pivot. Instantly. You just saved yourself months of development.
So you get the why from the qualitative interviews.
And then later, you use quantitative data to verify the what at scale, but you have to start with the why.
Which brings us back to why you absolutely have to talk to customers. A funnel report might tell you that people are dropping off, but it won't tell you why.
Never. 1,000 people might sign up, which looks great. But if they all leave after 5 minutes, your metric is lying to you. You need to do the interviews to find out what went wrong. Was the onboarding bad? Did they not get the value? You can only find that out by asking.
And this is why surveys and focus groups are no good for this early stage.
They're terrible. A survey assumes you already know all the right questions to ask. A focus group just leads to groupthink.
You're not exploring the unknown unknowns.
Exactly. You need those one-on-one, open-ended conversations to really understand their world.
So let's get into those interviews. The first rule is you have to decouple the problem from the solution.
100%. The customer doesn't care about your cool solution. They care about their problem.
So you split the interviews into 2 phases. First is the problem interview.
And here, you don't even mention your product. You're just a researcher. You're trying to understand their world, their top problems, and how painful they really are.
How do you know if a problem is painful enough to be worth solving?
You ask about behavior. How do you solve this today? If they have a clunky, time-consuming workaround that they're already using,
That's a great sign.
that's a fantastic sign. It means the pain is real enough that they're already investing time or energy to fix it. If they just say, I live with it, then it's probably just a nice to have.
And only if you validate that acute problem do you move on to the solution interview.
Right. Now you can bring out your demo, your mock-ups, whatever you have. You show them how you solve that specific pain point you just discussed. And then you test pricing.
And the book is very aggressive on this. It says if you plan to charge, you should charge from day 1.
It's a hard pill to swallow for some, but it's so important. Your price is part of your product.
Why, though? Why not just get users first and worry about money later?
Because a free user and a paying customer are 2 different animals. When someone pays, even a small amount, their commitment level shoots up. Their feedback becomes 10 times more valuable.
They're more invested.
Way more invested. And you start getting cash flow, which is, the lifeblood of a startup.
So the book argues against the freemium model at launch.
It's a really bad idea for learning. Freemium is a growth strategy for after you have product market fit.
Because the conversion rates are so low.
They're tiny, like 0.5% to 5%. So you need a massive number of users just to get any meaningful data on who will pay and why.
And all your focus shifts to just getting signups, not solving the core problem.
Precisely. You stop focusing on retention and start focusing on acquisition. And free users are not your customers. Not yet.
Okay, so once we launch, we start tracking metrics. The book uses Dave McClure's Pirate Metrics, AARR.
Acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. It's a great way to map the whole user journey.
But right after launch, you're not focused on all 5.
No, you're focused on the first 2.
Yeah.
Acquisition, can you get people in the door? And activation, can you give them a great first experience so they see the value?
If you can't nail those, nothing else matters.
Nothing. But the ultimate test, the true measure of product market fit, is retention.
People coming back over and over.
That's the only proof that you've built something they actually want and need, and there's a specific number to aim for.
40% rule.
The 40% rule. It correlates with the Sean Ellis test, where you ask users how disappointed they'd be if your product disappeared. If 40% say very disappointed, you've got PMF.
And the metric that backs that up is retaining 40% of your activated users month over month.
That's the target. If you can hit that, you have a sustainable business that's ready to scale. If you're retaining 10%, you have a leaky bucket.
Now, to measure that accurately, the book makes a huge point about using cohort analysis instead of simple funnel reports.
Yes, this is so critical. A simple monthly funnel report is basically useless for learning.
Why is that?
Because it averages everything together. It mixes users who signed up in May with users who signed up in June. If you made a big change on June 15th, you have no way of knowing if that change actually helped or hurt things.
You can't tie the result back to the action.
Can't do it. But with cohort analysis, you group users by when they signed up. So you look at the week 1 cohort, the week 2 cohort, and so on.
And you can see how each group behaves over time.
Exactly. So if you roll out a new feature in week 3, you can compare the retention of the week 3 cohort against the week 2 cohort. You get a clear, objective signal. It tells you if what you're doing is actually working.
It forces that discipline and objectivity into the learning loop.
It's the only way to do it properly. It's your canary in the coal mine.
This has been a really practical breakdown of running lean. The whole workflow is designed to take the guesswork and the dogma out of building a business.
It replaces it with facts. It's not about having the perfect idea from the start. It's about having the best process for finding a good idea before you go broke.
And I'm stuck on that point you made earlier, that even getting revenue isn't the final validation. It can be a false positive.
It can. People pay for gym memberships they never use. The real challenge, the deepest one, is proving retention. Proving that your product has become part of their routine.
So the final thought for our listeners to take away.
I think it's this. For your product, what is the one single key activity that defines real engagement? Not signing up, not paying, but using the core feature that delivers the value.
Right.
Figure out what that activity is and then measure your retention against that. That's how you'll know if you've built something people truly want, not just something they bought.
Focusing on that key activity, not just the revenue.
Yeah.
That's the real goal of lean.
Absolutely. Nail that, and the sustainable revenue will follow.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this brief exploration of the book, feel free to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future episodes. New book insights are coming soon. See you next time.